Hi, welcome to Slick Willy Fly. What I'm going to do today is a shrimp fly. So I have a co-worker in Sweden who is taking a trip of a lifetime. He and a couple of his good friends are going to Mexico for a couple of weeks, and they're going to do some offshore fishing and they're going to do some inshore fishing, and he's going to do some bonefish fishing, and he's actually telling me that he's going to have a couple of days where he's going to be self-guided. He's just going to take the rental car and try to walk the flats and catch bonefish like he's seen in some YouTube videos, and I think it's a great idea. So he asked me to make him a selection of flies, and he asked me to make him some simple flies because he's going to take some fly tying materials and a travel vise with him, and he wants to be able to tie up some flies. So I've been thinking a lot about it, and I know that in Mexico he can easily run into some permit. He can easily run into, tarpon and some other fish, and so I wanted to come up with a bonefish fly that was not necessarily just a shrimp, that might be confused for a crab as well. And I think that this pattern fits the bill. So let's change the camera angle. Let's have a cocktail. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Slick Willy Flies on Instagram. And let's tie a fly. Alright, so let's get on it. I know I didn't give you the material list like I like to do these days, but we'll do it real quick as we're tying this fly. So for a hook, I'm using a size 4. I'm going to make them a selection in size 6 as well. But for this video, I'm using a size 4 Mustad 34007, which I think is a fine hook. There's a lot of different available hooks. Actually, I take it back. I'm not using the 34007. I'm using the 7766 DT in size 4. And I really like this hook for this fly. So I'm going to go ahead and use 2 colors of thread because I want this hot spot, if you will. So I'm using this like fluorescent orange first. And this is just a 70 denier. It's nothing super mega strong. And the only thing I'm going to do with this is attach the dumbbell eyes. For dumbbell eyes, I'm using medium, silver. You can easily use gold or black or pink or any color you want. I am using my wire cutters to cut the bead chain to not damage my scissors. And I'm gonna go ahead and take out that little tag, and I don't know, I just think that I just don't like to see it. I don't know that it does anything bad, but I don't know, I just don't like to see it. So I'm gonna tie this nearly to the front. I'm gonna give myself a little bit of room to make a knot, and I'm just gonna secure it. Ooh, wow, that's not good. Not good. I'm going to jump in here with my white real quick and save this, and then we will come back and make that neon head again. I've tied a bunch of flies, and of course it happens on the one that I'm making a video. I haven't had that happen all day. Now I'm using 140 denier. White, and it will be fine. So we're just gonna get these eyes on here nice and hard, and start making a fly. So I'm gonna put a touch of super glue on that bead chain just because I really don't want them to move. And that's plenty. Alright, so the first material that I'm going to use, again, it's another hot spot. I have a little bit of this orange. It's not Flourecent. It's like a brownish orange deer body. And I don't take a lot. Small pinch. It's hard to say like what exactly is a small pinch, but it really is, and I'm going to show it to you and you'll see that it is a small little pinch of deer hair. It's really that small. And I do like to stack it. I don't know why. It probably doesn't make a difference at all. I just think it looks nice when I stack it. So I'm quickly putting it in a stacker. I'm going to give it a little stack. Just like that. And now I'm going to check my length. And for a length, I would say about a hook shank is plenty, but not necessary. It's only, here I can show you. The only thing I'm doing with it is giving it that little hot spot right there. Didn't stack super great, but it'll look good. So I'm just going to trim this up. Couple loose wraps just to make sure I like where it is, which I do. Give it a little, distribute a little with my fingers. Now I'm going to give it loose wraps all the way back to the bead chain, because I don't really want this to be overly flared. And I don't want it to move too much. If it wraps under, that's fine, because it is going to be hook side up. Then I could take my needle and just distribute, just like that. That's going to look great when this fly is finished. So now I'm going to take a little bit of fin Racoon, which I really have been loving lately and using it a lot. And I'm going to use a tan color. And I don't need a lot. You can easily do this with craft fur. You can do it with deer hair. You can do it with a lot of materials. I've just been enjoying this fin Racoon. And I got on this fin Racoon because of a friend of mine, another friend of mine. And he was telling me he was so excited about the way the fin Racoon behaves, the great action, and that it doesn't have a tendency to foul. So I like it because it's been great. So that length right there is about the length that I'm looking for. So I transfer my fingers and I trim. I apologize, I have a little bit of a cold. So if you hear my voice a little weird, it's because I'm recovering from a cold. So now I'm just basically attaching it to the body. Real simple, just like that. Making sure that it's distributed. That looks good. So now my next step is my eyes. And I have a couple of my eyes already sitting here waiting. I have videos on how I make these eyes, and I'll put a link to that video in the description of this video. But I have a couple of eyes here, and everything in this fly is a little bit small, so it's maybe hard for you to see on the camera. I hope you can see it. Doing my best, I promise. I've actually ordered a new camera, which I have a lot of high hopes for. It's going to fix some of my video issues. So once I get that on, I make sure to put one wrap behind the eye. trying not to trap fibers. And now I do the same thing on the opposite side. And that looks pretty good. They look pretty even. I would say that that's perfect. I got one hair trapped, one little fiber, and it's gone. All right, so now it's rubber legs. And I had 2 rubber legs ready, but now I only have 1 rubber leg ready. So one of my rubber legs has disappeared. So we'll fix another one quickly here. For rubber legs, I'm using, it's fluorescent pink and fluorescent orange. And really I'm going to use mostly the orange ends, because this is a kind of a small fly. And I do want them to be more on the bottom. So I'm not putting, a lot of times you'll see me put it on the thread and just put the whole entire rubber legs on. I'm not going to do that, because if I do that, when I trim them, pretty much all the orange will be gone. So I'm going to do one side first. Making sure that some of the pink is showing. I think it's nice to have some of the pink. I'll go ahead and lock that in nice and hard right there. And I'm going to bring it all over to the opposite side. Trap it. And I got 3 legs instead of 2. That's fine. Just give it a little bit more action. That's all that'll happen. And that's nice right there. I'm happy with that. And we'll trim the legs in a minute. Oh, I can't do that. I take it back. Gotta undo that. Made a mistake, and you see very nicely there. This is why I like my one take videos. I can't do that like that. I have too much pink showing. So I have to redo that. Showing a lot less pink. Just like that. Sometimes it's hard to grab just the material you want to grab. Okay, so that's now nicely placed. And this end here, I can trim off. Okay, so now the next little material I'm going to use one piece of flash, which has also disappeared. I bet it's on the floor beneath my feet. But it will be quicker for me to grab a fresh one than it will for me to find that one. Let's save that for another fly. And I'm going to go ahead and just attach this as evenly as I can. And we're going to go ahead and put it right on top of this fly. And once we secure it, then I take one to each side. And lock them in. And these basically act like the antennas, giving it a little bit more of a shrimpy kind of feel. Now, for the body, I've been using, this one is pink salmon, it's called Chenielle. I have another one called tan something or another here. Don't know where it went. I have so much stuff out there. There's that one. This one's called Pearl Tan. And I mean, this is the pink. I think that looks great. I think that blends really nice with the orange, but why not? We'll do one with the tan. A little bit different look. So I'm just gonna cut off a little section so we can use the rotary function. And like all the chenilles, I just trim off, expose that little thread. Give that twist so that my bobbin wraps the way I want it to wrap, just like that. So I can capture that chenille nice and hard. Now I get my thread out of the way, and I can use my rotary function. That's plenty right there. Capture the chenille. We're going to give it a little trim job actually. Making sure everything is in the right place. I'm a little jealous. I wish I was going to Mexico. But I can't complain too much. I've had some nice vacations this year. And I've had a pretty decent fishing year, so cannot complain too much. And right now, unfortunately, Hurricane Milton is bearing down on my home state of Florida, which is not super cool for my friends and family in the Tampa area. Hope everybody's being safe. It's been rough. They had Helene 2 weeks ago, and now they're facing Milton. So I'm just going to give this a whip finish, and then we're going to put that other thread back on. Because I do want to have that orange hotspot. Alright, so now we're going to fix this bobbin. And there's no risk that anything can get damaged. I go ahead and trim a section there so it's nice and fresh. Yes, nice and simple. All we're going to do is give this a good little hotspot right here. And when I put the UV resin on, it's going to damn near glow. That's plenty. Cut this off. Whip finish this. Could just give it a couple half inches, it'll work as well. But I like my whip finish tool. Gosh, I broke again the thread. Now I am going to give it a half inch. Something must not be right with that spool. It's a brand new spool. But I wasn't having any problems today. That's 3, That's 4 half hitches. So that's gotta be good. Yeah, I'm gonna use UV resin anyway, so it's gonna be fine. Okay, so before I do the resin, I do want to do one thing. I'm gonna trim off a lot of the chenille on this underside. Careful not to cut the antennas, and careful not to cut the legs. And the only reason I do that is it will help this fly ride hook side up the way I intended it to ride. Just like that. It's looking pretty nice. It's looking pretty buggy. So now we're gonna give it a little UV resin. And it's finished. I'm using a very thin UV resin because it'll penetrate down into that thread. It's all the way around to the opposite side. Look at that little hot spot. That looks great. But just to make sure, I give it a touch on this side also. I might trim a little bit of chenille. Could have done that a little nicer from the beginning. Usually I like to do all my trimming before I put any resin on. But I think that looks great. It's a nice little fly. Easily could put a weed guard on this. Don't really think you need a weed guard for this kind of fishing, but it would be super simple to do. And there it is. One Slick Willy shrimp fly. And again, this meets all my regular Slick Willy criteria. I have a handful of materials. I have, let's see, I have the chenille, I have the Racoon, I have rubber legs, and I have one little Krystal flash. But that's a nice little bug. All right, so we're back. So there it is. Slick Willy shrimp fly. I don't know, we'll call it the Mexican shrimp fly. It's nothing really unique about this fly other than it's just an easy tie, simple. I think we'll get a lot of bites. If you think the antennas are too long, easy to trim. I like to leave things a little bit longer in the vise and trim when I'm in the water fishing if I think it doesn't look right or if it's not swimming right. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm counting on my buddy to be sending me some photographs of these guys in the mouth of some nice Mexican bonefish or a permit or something. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe. Don't forget to find Slick Willy on Instagram. And good luck catching.